3 of Q&A, and we're gonna get started right now. I took these questions from the previous the Q&A part 2 and just kind of went through bam, just picked some of them. There's quite a few in there, but you know, I'm gonna do the best I can with these, best I can to answer them for you guys, and we're gonna get started right now. But first of all, I gotta minimize this because this is kind of weirding me out. And I'm editing one of my videos, and my weird face is paused, and it just looks stupid. Never mind. Anyway, here we go. How old are you? I am going to be 36 in June, so I'm trying to hold on to my youth as long as I possibly can. But yeah, 36. Do you know music theory, or do you think it is important? I don't know shit about music theory. Some people, a lot of times when they've you know, seen some of my stuff that I've made up, things that I've written and what have you, commented that I've pulled from this scale, meshed with this scale, and I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. Yeah, cool, bro. I honestly don't know anything about theory. Do I think it's important? Yeah, I absolutely do. I mean, I'm sure it's not a deal breaker if you don't know anything about theory. Like, that's not gonna make or break you as a musician or a songwriter. But it definitely goes a long way, and you know, in coming up with different things, just making more sense of your instrument when you play it. But I don't know anything about music theory. So moving on to the next question. What do you listen to besides metal? I listen to, like when I'm at work, a lot of 80s music. We usually have 80s music playing. Like my cousin and I today, he's had this stuck in his head all day when we were mudding and taping, you know, on this commercial job that we've been working on. He was singing that fucking song from Dirty Dancing back in the 80s, that Patrick Swayze song. Whatever, however it goes. So, yeah, we listen to a lot of stuff from the 80s. It brings us back to our childhood and just, yeah, it makes us feel good. And I listen to, you know, classic rock. I listen to, yeah, the modern rock. But I tend to listen to a lot of local, I listen to talk radio or sports radio, actually. If you guys are familiar with Detroit, if you know 97 won the ticket, I listen to that all the time, even though I don't watch sports. You guys are probably wondering why the hell I even listen to it. Because I like hearing people bitch and call in and complain about sports, and people just go back and forth. It makes me laugh, and it's different every time. And they bring up other topics too that are going on, like current events and shit. Because some of these local radio shows around, or local radio stations, I should say, around here, they've taken great music and made it just so old and so stale to where you don't even like them anymore. And every time I go back to try and give these radio stations a chance, they've been playing the same shit for like 30, 40 fucking years, and it's ridiculous. So I listen to a lot of talk radio, and I listen to, like I said, I love 80s music. Brings me back to, you know, times as a kid when beyond my big wheels and all that kind of shit, playing outside. So yeah, definitely like that kind of music, classic rock, and you know, I like the jazz and the blues and stuff like that too. And then let's see, have you ever considered making a full album? I actually did back in 2008. I talked about it in one of these videos. I can't remember which one I talked about it, but I briefly mentioned it. So back in 2008, you know, I quit Gut Rot back in like late 04 or something like that, when I was playing guitar for Gut Rot, and I was just kind of doing my own thing for a few years. Came up with, I had like 12 or 13 songs. I actually have them on my desktop still. We recorded them, both distorted, and we ended up picking up a direct box. Brian from Gut Rot at the time, I was recording them at his house, and we plugged into a direct box and all kinds of stuff. He was explaining to me that we could, you know, totally shape the tone and kind of make it sound like anything I wanted. And so we had both guitar channels covered. I had to add a couple more solos to it, but we just recorded to MIDI drums, and we were going to be able to change all that. But then I remember when I went over there, and there was still a couple things. We had to add bass and shit too. But I went over to his house and he was explaining to me like what to do to make the drum sound more realistic with I think he had Easy Drummer on there, and telling me about velocities and this and that, and I'm like looking at this interface and there's like all these blade switches and all these like different buttons and settings. I'm going, fuck this shit, I ain't dealing with this. Like my head just started pounding. So like a lot of you guys, when you ask me too, like what I used to record, I have this like, I know my MIDI drums sound absolutely horrible. I just take it from Tablet drums and run it through sometimes MIDI Converter Studio. It's just something to play along to because I don't know what to buy. I don't even know where to start because there's so many programs out there, and one person might suggest this, I go to buy it and then someone's like, no, you're an asshole, why'd you suggest that, that thing sucks. No, you're a dipshit, kill yourself, that's the wrong thing, you shouldn't buy that. I don't even want to fucking deal with it right now. Like, and plus I just don't have the money for this right now. But I'll eventually get there, but it's not going to stop me from making videos. I want to make sure that when I go to buy something that it's going to be what I need for what I have. And probably got to do something to upgrade my my desktop too, because I'm still running Windows 7. That thing's old. But I mean, it's getting me by for right now. So yeah, to answer that question, I did create a full-length album. But then I kind of got lazy with it, where it's like I go back and listen to those songs, I'm like, man, I don't like this anymore. But I think a lot of us musicians do that. We'll write something we think it's cool at the time, and then when we come back and listen to it, we don't even like it anymore. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. But then, you know, recently I've listened back, like, dude, this stuff, I think people want to hear this, and, you know, I'd like to get it out there now that I have all this free time. So I would definitely like to get to it, but probably do it on my own. But I want to make sure that when I go to buy something, I buy a different interface, because I use like for my recording I use Audacity, and you know, that's, you can only do so much with that, and even some of the settings on there, I don't know what the fuck they are. I really need to sit down with somebody and have them show me how all that stuff works, because I have no idea. I wish I did. That way I could get some better recordings for you guys. Trust me, when you guys leave these comments, I see the passion and just like frustration of like what you guys have to deal with when you listen to it. I mean, like, I totally get it. Yeah, I want to improve the sound quality also, obviously, because I know it can sound 20 times better than how it comes out. But I mean, I'll get to that point eventually. So let's move on to the next question. What brand of strings do you use and what gauge? I actually have both sets right here, I believe. Oh, I threw the one packet away. Okay, so I use D'Addario strings. So this set is actually what I use for my BC Rich Kerry King V. So this is 13 to 56 in drop B. They feel nice and tight. What I like about D'Addario is, I remember for a long time I played Ernie Ball strings, but these ones, especially this one as opposed to right here, like you got these, and for some reason I wear these out a lot faster as far as the maintaining tone. These seem to hold the tone and the brightness longer than those other strings. So I really like these ones. When I was playing with John from Gut Rot before he moved down to Texas, he turned me on to these strings, and I haven't gone back to anything else ever since. I'm sure there's some really good guitar strings out there besides these, but I haven't tried anything because I like these so much. And I never break a string, even for as aggressive as I play, how hard I downpick and all that shit. I never break strings. Well, I'm gonna break a string now probably, but yeah, I love these strings to death. And then my other guitars are out there in the living room with me because I've been playing a little bit. When I come home from work, I've been kind of dabbling with some riffs. But on the Washburn Solar V, I've been experimenting a little bit with. I got the baritone. I got a 13 to 62 set on there right now for drop A. But I think with that guitar, I think the nut on it is sitting a little bit too low, and the only thing I could really do, because I'm getting a little bit of fret buzz top, and I think what I have to do, it would take a little bit of work. I'd have to possibly shim it up if it's even possible, just some of those thin little metal shims just to bring it up a little bit, so I'd be able to slightly lower the action with kind of depress my my neck, so I don't have that bow in the neck, which I kind of have to do to compensate right now because the string gauges are thicker, and I play aggressively, so I had to raise it up a little bit. But I'm gonna play around with it for a little bit longer, and then if it doesn't work out for me, I'm gonna go back to C sharp where I had it because I really liked it in C sharp. So I might go back to that, and I don't know, we'll see. So the next set of strings that I use, actually the Jackson right there, is what was the string gauge? It was 10 to 40. Is it 48? Or maybe it was 46. Okay, yeah, it was 10 to 46 Diodario that I use on there, and that's just an E flat, and more than enough tension, more than enough brightness. And I got the let me grab it. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see. I'll try. Grab this without dropping my poor guitar. I got the action pretty low on this sucker, with like no buzzing going on. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but this thing plays great. It still needs new pickups. Yeah, I just figured I'd show you guys real quick on that. And let me put her down, man. Oh yeah, this will lead into the next. Is it the next question? No, that'll be the last question. I'll jump to that one real quick now that we're kind of on this subject. Why do you seem to play exclusively flying V's? Well, this thing feels like a goddamn toy in my hand. It feels really small. I mean, it's great, but as far as like standing up, I have a lot of trouble with like when I headbang and shit and I'm playing, and with down picks, I can't get them as easily. It seems like it takes a little more effort for me to play a Strat style guitar. It seemed like I've always had this issue, like when I would pick up a flying V, just where the bridge was as opposed to where I can kind of pivot and anchor where I'm playing when I'm standing up or sitting down. Just seems like, because like if I had my flying V's in my lap right now, the bridge would be more up here, but on this it's back here and it just feels awkward to me. So I have a little bit more trouble with a Strat style guitar, so I can't go as fast. I can just go a million miles an hour with a flying V. And then when I headbang too, there's a certain way that you probably don't pick it up on camera when I do covers or when I'm jamming on them, but I can take that wing and kind of position it against my leg, and as I'm headbanging, the guitar stays in position where it's not moving all over the place, and I can't do that with one of those guitars. So that's like another advantage for me on flying V, and they just look super aggressive and they don't feel like a toy. So I guess that's another added bonus to playing the flying V's and why I like them so much, because they look mean, they look like weapons, and I love it. But that guitar I picked up, the reason I got this one, especially that color, is brings me back to that 1970 Challenger that my dad restored, and that makes me think about just all that inspiration that I got from my dad, because my dad was my freaking hero, and he still is. I mean, watching him restore that car for 2.5 years by himself, doing everything from the ground up, and then the color he painted it was lime green. That was my dad ended up, after he was done with that car, he entered it in a car show, and it was his first car show ever, won first place, and he was super proud of it. And yeah, so it reminds me of my dad, so I had to get that guitar when I saw it. Like, that is the Challenger. So this is nicknamed the Challenger, and I love it. It just needs new pickups. So let's move on to, we gotta back up a little bit here. Okay, this will be the final set of questions. Do you go to concerts? Yes, I do, and it depends who's on the bill too, whether I'm gonna go to it or not, and it depends on the area, because I'm from Detroit, and some areas I just will not go to, especially the kind of vehicle that I drive. Last concert that you went to, it was actually, there's some footage of it on, it's recently, maybe a few weeks old, when my cousin and I and my buddy went to, it was Aborted was the headliner. Cryptopsy was on there. Hideous Divinity, awesome, awesome, awesome. Bunch of cool guys too. Let's see who else was that. Benighted was on there, and then there was a local band from I think they're from Grand Rapids or Lansing. I can't remember, but yeah, they all those bands were there, and man, that was like one of the probably top 5 metal shows I've been to in a long time. Really, really awesome. And then like watching like Aborted play, Cryptopsy, and we were lucky because we were the first stop on that tour, on that leg of that tour. So that was a real treat for all of us. That was downtown Hamtramck. But I remember, man, when that show was over with, I went up to Sven when he was just pouring sweat. And like I had this feeling watching those guys because I love seeing the passion and just how much, like those bands just give it everything they got. They leave nothing on the table, and they want to try like absolute hell to make sure that they play the best set that they possibly can for all of us that come out and watch them. And when you see that they're just up there giving it their all, it really struck me. And I walked up to Sven. I'm like, dude, this is probably gonna sound a little weird, man, but like there were several times watching you guys play in your set for just how much you give it, put into it and shit. I almost wanted to start fucking crying because I just love seeing that kind of passion, that kind of energy come out of people that just love the music and just love playing it for everybody. It's like, man, yeah, that's really cool. I appreciate that. And I got to talk to him for a minute, and then I talked to the guys from Hideous Divinity a little bit. Really, really down to earth, cool guys. Everybody is. Everybody in these bands are really, really cool all the time. Do I mosh? I used to. First show I remember when I was at the Dying Fetus show. That was the first concert I went to. So it was Misery Index, Divine Empire. I wish they were still around. God damn it. Mutilated. We shared the practice room with them back in the day. Really, really good band. Let's see who else was on there. Skinless, and then it was Dying Fetus. Yeah, I moshed during like every single show. Like back when I think I was 19 at the time when I went to that show. So that was my first death metal show ever, downtown Detroit. And I had a blast, sweating my ass off. Yeah, I used to do that when I was younger, but I don't do that anymore. I'm just kind of a bystander. I like to watch people play. So yeah, I'm just one of those old timers now. It's like I look at this shit now and I'm like, what are those damn kids doing? Why are they doing that? That's almost how I feel. But I get it. I mean, I was there when I was their age, like when I was younger and stuff. I don't do it anymore. I don't get involved. I just like to watch. Love seeing, especially some of these riffs that I'm trying to figure out, or like if I'm trying to learn something by ear or a specific technique. I like to really, really focus and watch the musicians try to pull it off. They do pull it off all the time, and it's really, really impressive to watch. So that's why I just kind of stand there and watch. So yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for Q&A number 3. And then I'll keep knocking these out for you guys, and I'll keep reading through and answer these questions for you. Now, if you guys like the video, give it a thumbs up and keep checking back. Keep leaving me some questions in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them for you. And if you guys haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do or consider it, and I will talk to you guys. Take it easy. Have a good one.